Undoubtedly, credible, free and fair elections were held on June 12, 1993. However,
hello, great people. Nigeria's former head of state, Ibrahim Badamasi, has apologized for the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. You will recall that MKO Abiola allegedly won the election, but he was denied the victory by the annulment of Ibrahim Badamasi. In a moment, I'll leave you to watch the video of IBB's confession and his apology. And one important thing about that video is that IBB named his accomplice. So watch out for the list of those people, because of the list there is Yoruba names, there are Hausa Fulani names, there are Igbo names. So watch out for some of them that you know, and some of them that you don't know, you can read about them. Some are dead, some are alive. Then when we come back, we'll be analyzing the issues pertaining to that annulment, the fate of MKO Abiola. We'll be traveling back all the way to 32 years ago, which was when the election was annulled in 1993. We'll be looking at the impact of that annulment on democracy, on development and governance in Nigeria today, and what should be the next step after this apology. We'll be dissecting that and a whole lot more on this episode of Politics with Dr. Moshood. I must say that this is not the kind of video that you will just fast forward. This is a video that you must watch to the end. I don't get data for this kind of video, because we are talking of a record 32 years in history. Let's go and watch the apology and acknowledgement of IBB's accomplice. Then we come back for some great discussion. Let's watch it.
Undoubtedly, credible, free and fair elections were held on June 12, 1993. However, the tragic irony of history remains that the administration that devised a near-perfect electoral system and conducted those near-perfect elections could not complete the process. That accident of history is most regrettable. The nation is entitled to expect my impression of regret. As the leader of the military administration, I accept full responsibility for all decisions taken under my watch. And June 12 happened under my watch. Mistakes, oversights, and missteps happen in quick succession. But I say in my book, in all matters we acted in the supreme national interest so that Nigeria could survive. Our nation's march to democracy was interrupted, a fact that I deeply regret, but Nigeria survived and democracy is still alive, a testament to our resilience and commitment to progress. This book is part of my personal story of that encounter with national history. I did not travel alone. I undertook the challenging work of leadership in the company of many patriots. Many are still here, while others have gone the way of all the flesh. I cannot name all our allies and fellow travelers, but let me acknowledge the contributions of men like late Augustus Ihomu, Komodo Ebitu Ukiwe, Dararito Machuku, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Dr. Kalu Idika Kalu, Dr. Tunji Olagunju, Chief Olufala Enahu Kabesi, the late Professor Babatunde Papumwa, the late Professor Walikoe Ramson Kuti, the late Dr. Shatima Mustafa, the late Alhaji Bunu Sharif Musa, the late Rear Admiral Patrick Koshoni, Lieutenant Alani Akinyade, General Ali Gusau, General Haliru Akilu, the former Senate President Brigadier David Mark, Brigadier General Tunde Ogweha, Colonel Abubakar Nengiwa Umar, the late UK Bello, the late General Nuhu Gomaji, Colonel Sambo Desuki, and a whole list of prominent colleagues.
There you have it. You just watched the former head of state, Ibrahim Babangida. One thing that first came to mind while watching that video, I don't know whether you noticed, is why the clap. While he was, reading out the statement, some people in the crowd, or should I say all of them, were clapping. What are you clapping about? Somebody annulled the election, the presidential election, denied MKO Abiola his mandate. MKO Abiola died under controversial circumstances in detention. After 32 years of the annulment, the man is coming to confess and you are clapping. You want to imagine the orientation of Nigerians and you are in that particular hall, you are clapping. What are you clapping for? It's just as if a thief stole something that is essential to you. Maybe you want to gain admission and somebody came into your house, stole your certificate, stole your credential, and as a result of that, you are not able to go to school. The person is now coming 32 years and now coming and say, oh, I am sorry, then you are clapping. Then another thing is that if somebody, God forbid, execute your father or mother, and the person is now coming after 32 years to confess, and you are not saying, oh, and you are not clapping, you want to ask yourself that this thing is annoying. It's irritating. So what is the essence of the clap? And let us look at something, which is that 32 years, it took IBB 32 years to come and confess to Nigerians. It shows that the word of our elders is true, that no matter how long the lie travel, definitely the truth will catch up with you. So the truth was able to catch up on the issue of MKO Abiola's presidential election only after 32 years. Now, let us look at it from a logical ground, which is that we need to thank IBB in the true sense of it for confessing. Because the only person that can erase the ambiguity, the only person that can erase all doubt concerning the June 12, 1993 presidential election is Ibrahim Badamasi. So we need to thank him for confessing, because if IBB had died without making that confession, definitely there will still be doubt, there will still be conspiracy theory. But the man who was the head of state at that time, who annulled the election, has now come out to confess that, oh, I regret my action, what I did was wrong. So that erased all that, because definitely he is the #1 citizen at that point in time. So we need to thank IBB for confessing. If he had carried the truth to the grave, it would have been terrible, and the ambiguity, the doubt will linger on almost forever on whether the election was free and fair, whether it was won by MKO Abiola or not. And one thing on the flip side that we need to look at is that IBB has agreed that he is a thief. That is one implication of that confession. That you confess doesn't erase the fact that you are a thief. Because stealing somebody's mandate, stealing the power from the person that you are supposed to hand over to, denying somebody their legitimate right, using your military might to erase the will of the Nigerian people is stealing. You will recall that MKO Abiola's election was an election that knows no tribe or religion. People in Kano, people all across the north voted for MKO Abiola. MKO Abiola was a detribalized Nigerian, and the election was one of the one that was recorded in history of a Muslim ticket. MKO Abiola and Babaginda Kingibe, is deputy at that, is vice presidential candidate at that time, were both Muslim, but there was no conspiracy as regards, this one is a Muslim, that one is a Muslim. So, and they won that election overwhelmingly. So if millions of Nigerians have spoken that this is what we want, but you, one person, decide to overrule the mandate of Nigerians, that means that you are acknowledging that you are a thief. You stole Abiola's mandate. We appreciate you for confessing. And in fact, it is that confession that even erased the doubt in our mind of whether you are a thief or not. Because there were a lot of conspiracy theories as regards, the election was not fair, Abiola did not really win that election. But one thing that is very painful, that is so painful, is that that you unjustly robbed Abiola of his mandate. Unfortunately, that man died in detention under controversial circumstances, and you didn't do anything. You didn't use your influence to effect his release before he died. Okay, you don't want the man to be president for reason best known to you, whether because of ethnicity or whatever comes to your mind. But the man suffered till he died on such an issue. It is beyond apology. No, God punishment awaits you. That is the truth. If you are so big, if you are a big man in Nigeria that nobody can touch you, nobody can punish you, God punishment definitely awaits you. Because you did not only rob the man of his mandate, you failed to influence his release till he died. So this apology now, what does it bring to the Abiola family? What is the effect of the apology to the Abiola family that lost their son, that lost their husband, that lost their philanthropist, that lost their uncle, that lost their brother? So this matter is beyond apology. It is easy to apologize, but then the impact on it still lingers on. Some of the people in the Abiola's family, who are his nearest and dearest, are still missing him today. So it's easy to just come after 32 years and say, I'm sorry. No, it is beyond sorry, because if you have not annulled that election, by the time Abiola died in incarceration, he would have been the president of Nigeria. He will have the presidential powers, the presidential protection. He will have access to resources, both security resources, economic resources, political resources, even health resources, to be able to protect his health. So whether you apologize or not, the death of Abiola ultimately is upon you and the likes of Sonny Abacha. Now, let us look at one thing which is very important. This thing is about the democracy. It's about military-civil relation. Now, he made a statement. He said, democracy is alive. Fine. Democracy is alive. We know. But then democracy is alive not based on your personal effort or contribution. The people that should be applauded, is retired General Abdulsalami Abubakar. Those are the kind of people that Nigeria should praise, because if Abdulsalam is as greedy as you, if Abdulsalam is as self-centered as you, definitely we may not even have the democracy we have today. But General Abdulsalam was gracious enough to make sure that he handed over power, and he delivered on that promise of handing over to the democratic government of Olusegun Obasanjo. So you have no role in the survival or the growth of democracy in Nigeria. And the implication of that is the level of underdevelopment, the level of insecurity, the level of poverty and hardship that we have in Nigeria today. If you have hand over to MKO Abiola, maybe the story of Nigeria would have turned around. Maybe there will be a good standard, because Abiola was coming on board with so much determination to deliver the dividend of democracy to Nigeria. So, but when you are not the election, look at what we have today. So perhaps if that election was not annulled, definitely the level of development that we have may not be as bad as this. The level of insecurity may not be as worst as this. The level of poverty and hardship may not be as worst as this. So the Babangida role in history is a very terrible one, and it may be from the military, especially the Babangida boys, that the politicians of today learned how to hold on perpetually to power, because then IBB has its own close associates that are civilians, and people were learning that maybe it is from him the likes of the politicians that we have today learn how to hold on perpetually to power. So IBB has done more harm than good to Nigeria. The only good thing is that it's good that he apologized and he confessed, so that all ambiguity, all doubt about that election is erased. I leave IBB to his creator. The rest is between him and God, for God to judge him accordingly. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Dr. Moshood. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science. Do want to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past video, and of course I have great interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.